sitting in my lap. Hey. Hey you guys, I am back, and this video is gonna post a day or so late just because the past couple days have been really super busy, and like my husband and I, and even Majesty, we have just been super tired. Just to give you guys a recap of like what's been going on. Majesty, the other day, the beginning of this week, I guess he got something in his eye. He like rubbed his eye or something, and one of his eyes were really red, and it wasn't the pink eye because nothing like crusty or like gooey or whatever was coming out of his eye, but it was just red. And so that night when we noticed it, we went to go buy some children's eye drops, and we put some eye drops in his eye, and even the next day it was still red, so we did some drops a couple times that day, and nothing was changing. And so he also was having another issue that wasn't making him feel well. So we really tried to just like make him feel comfortable and better throughout the day, but nothing was really working. And we even took him out to get pizza, because that pizza is like his favorite thing. He calls it pie, and so he loves pie. And we took him to go get some, and he was not having it. So we knew at that point, if he turned down pizza, we knew something was not right. So we ended up, his pediatrician office was closed, so we ended up taking him to the ER, the pediatric ER, and everything checked out well. He didn't have any bacteria, no pink eye, and then the other situation that was bothering him, they ran some tests, and everything was fine. And so now he's feeling much better. But today he's a little clingy. I don't know why, because he's not running warm or anything like he was earlier this week. He was extremely hot. And so but when I would check his fever, and even at the ER when they checked his fever, he had a normal temperature. And so I don't know what was going on. It could have just been like a couple days spell or something, but I was giving him Tylenol around the clock, and just trying to make him feel as comfortable as possible, because he just was not acting himself. I could tell he looked drowsy, like this was before I gave him his kids Tylenol, but he just looked like he was low on energy, and he just wanted to chill and relax. He wasn't jumping and playing and yelling and laughing, and doing all of that stuff that he normally do. So yeah, but today he's fine. I don't know why he's just he just wants to chill out with mommy today, like he always do. But I mean, usually he's not laying up on me unless it's his nap time and he's ready to cuddle and lay down and rest. But today he wants me to hold him and stuff, like I'm not carrying his sister inside of my belly, but it is what it is. And I'm trying to be strong for myself, Majesty, and Marley. But yeah, mother duties. So if I look a little tired to you, I am, because lately, when he wasn't feeling his normal self, he was waking up in the middle of the night like he was a baby. So yeah, this week has been a little tough. Anywho, I wanted to talk to you guys about a couple ways I am trying to deal and heal from my separation anxiety with this little one. A lot of folks close to me know that I am a stay-at-home mom, and I've been a stay-at-home mom since I was pregnant with Majesty. I quit my job. I don't know how many months I was, but I had him in September, and I remember quitting my job around February or March of 2017. And then I had Majesty in September of 2017. So I've been a stay-at-home mom for a while now, a couple years now. Majesty is 2, and so I've been with him literally 24/7 since he was born. And I can literally count on 2 hands how many times I've been outside of the house without Majesty for a few hours. Um, so yeah, I've been with him, and it's hard to leave him. Some mothers are like, it's easy for them to just leave the house and have fun and leave their child with their mother, their mother-in-law, or whoever. And with me, it's really hard. All the scenarios that could possibly go wrong while I'm not with him flows through my mind, and it drives me insane. And so in my other video, when I was talking about prenatal depression, I started seeing a therapist, and so she gives me really great advice on how to discuss some of the things that I want to make my mother-in-law aware of. And she tells me ways of discussing it with her without, for one, overwhelming myself and overwhelming my mother-in-law with my worries. And so when recently my husband and I have been getting back on track of like just enjoying each other's company outside of the house without Majesty. And so we recently went to like a concert, and we were out for a good amount of hours. I want to say about 4 to 5 hours, and that was like super long. Like, I've never been away from Majesty that long. And yeah, and then we had like a date night at church and things like that. So yeah. And so basically I will pull my mother-in-law aside, and I just ask her, like, okay, is it anything that you're concerned about or worried about when it comes to Majesty? And do you have any questions for me or Yamani about Majesty? And that's how I approach it, instead of going to her saying, this is what I'm worried about, and this is what I want you to do, and blah, 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 and blah, 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 instead of just making demands and commands. And so she didn't really have any questions or worries. And so then that's when I sort of shifted the conversation about myself, and I was just like, okay, well, these are some of the things that I will have done for you, and I will have a list of like what snacks he can eat, etc., etc. And so that made me feel better once I got all of that off my chest, and I talked to my mother-in-law about the expectations that I had for that night with her watching Majesty. And so that night of the concert, it went really smooth. When we left the house, Majesty is not at the point where he is crying for us anymore. He used to scream and cry for me and Yamani when we walked out the house without him. But now he's getting older. He's to the point where he's like, okay, he trusts his BB. That's what he calls my mother-in-law. He trusts her. He's comfortable with her. And so when we're leaving, he's not screaming and crying, which makes things so much better, because when he used to scream and cry, it would drive me crazy. Like, I would want to cry. And so that is one thing that I do to help myself with separation anxiety. I just go to my mother-in-law in a loving way and just tell her certain expectations, and I ask her first, does she have any questions, etc. Another thing I do, not pushing religion on anyone, but when my husband and I are in the car getting ready to leave, we say a prayer together. We pray hard, and we believe in God and Jesus, and so that puts me at ease when we say a prayer together. My husband says like a really good prayer that covers the house, covers my mother-in-law, covers Majesty. It just makes me feel super comfortable after we pray, because then I know that God has my family and that he will keep them safe, and that nothing will harm them because they are covered with God's grace and love. And that makes me feel super great and comfortable. Also, while we're out, we do like a check-in. And so during the before the concert, we left like 2 hours before the concert actually started. So we grabbed some coffee from Starbucks and stuff like that, and just did we did a little bit of shopping before the concert, and then before the concert we did a check-in. And so we just checked in. We called my mother-in-law, made sure everything was fine. We spoke to Majesty on the phone. He sounded fine and healthy, and so that also put me at ease. And we also do check-ins, just because if we don't check in, we tend to sit there and talk about Majesty all night. So we love our son, but since we're away from him, we're not trying to just talk about Majesty the entire night. And so we want to enjoy like each other's company and catch up on each other, because my husband, he's an entrepreneur. He has his own business. He's always running and gunning outside of the house. And so he's always on the move, and he has to work double and triple the amount of hours, just because he has to make up, not really make up, what am I trying to say? What? I'm a stay-at-home mom. So he does what he has to do to provide for us. And look at that little poop, but yeah, fell asleep. But so yeah, we do check-ins, and then every now and then we text my mother-in-law or whatever, but it wasn't like a text message every single hour or whatever, things like that. We just checked in every now and then. And so that has really made me feel a lot comfortable. And the main thing is me expressing how I feel with my husband, and also to my mother-in-law, because at first I was holding all of that anxiety and all those feelings and my expectations and everything inside, because I was scared to say anything to my mother-in-law, because I mean she raised my husband, and so I didn't want to make it seem like I was trying to tell her what to do. But upon talking to my therapist, I had to realize that this is my child, and whatever concerns I have towards my child, I have a right to speak on that. And so it took me a while, but I had to come to terms with that. Like, I can't be scared to speak up when it comes to my son. And that's to anybody. If I'm not scared to speak up about my son to a stranger when they're like in his face and saying hi and all that and stuff, then I shouldn't be afraid to speak to my family members about my expectations for my son. And so I had to get over that. And I can't really explain it. Like, if you're not married and you don't have a mother-in-law, it's sort of hard to explain. Like, you're not really scared of your mother-in-law, but you're just, we're still trying to get to know each other. So sometimes I just get nervous with saying how I feel. Excuse me. So, yeah. But other than that, like, I have a great and amazing, everything good relationship with my mother-in-law. But yeah, I was just a little nervous about that. And so those are a couple things on, a couple ways how I'm trying to better myself with this separation anxiety with Majesty. I'm honestly trying to get over it, and heal from it and do better, because when Marley gets here, I don't want that double anxiety. Like, and I know that when it comes to her, I'm probably going to have to work on more issues, like just bringing a second child into the family. But if I can heal and do better with Majesty before Marley gets here, when she gets here, it'll be much easier down the road with her. And so that's my thing. And I know that I didn't list a lot of things, a lot of advice in this video, because I'm still learning and I'm still growing. But the few things that I did mention in this video, I hope that it can touch someone else out there, another mom that goes through the same thing. Because as your baby gets older and grows, your baby has separation anxiety with you. So that's why they do all of that screaming and stuff when they know that you are dropping them off with someone. And you never think that some parents have separation anxiety, but it goes both ways. The parent and the baby can have separation anxiety, and it's so real. And if you're a stay-at-home mom, then it can be harder for you because you're with your child 24/7. You're not leaving, going to work, so it's not easy for you to just leave outside the house without your child. And so it takes time to work to get used to being outside the house. It takes time to build that confidence and things like that, because everything goes through your mind, like when you're leaving your child. Like, everything that can possibly go wrong, every negative thing runs through your mind when you're leaving your child. Like, and that's what separation anxiety is. Like, you're anxious all the time. You're constantly thinking about your child and things like that. But yeah, I hope that this helps someone, and I do want to give you guys updates, but I'm not sure if I'm going, like I said in my last video, I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing a lot of YouTube videos on it, but I may do like some IGTVs and like just check in and give advice on there as I continue to see my therapist. And but if you are going through separation anxiety, I hope that you can at least express your expectations when it comes to your child, because you have the right. Don't be nervous. That is your seed. You push that baby out, and you have the right to speak on your child. So don't be nervous to let anybody know about your expectations. Express how you feel. Express your feelings to your spouse. to the father of your child, whatever situation you're in, express your feelings. Don't hold that in, because the separation anxiety doesn't get better when you hold things in. It needs to be released in order for you to move forward and to get better and let go of that anxiety. And so keep your head up and stay strong, and you got this. And I will catch you guys in another video at another day. So, one love.